What's up guys, it's Shantan and welcome back to the iherng podcast, and today we will answer a question from email. This one specifically saying do not disclose my name. So let's just call him or her M. I have some questions to ask regarding the property matter. My family owns 5 property. Condo in Kuchai Lama, cash purchase, and I'm living with my sister there. Number 2, double story in Saujana Impian, cash purchase and rented out for 1,000. Number 3, double story house in Bandar Baru Bangi, fully paid and rented out for 1,005. Number 4, double story house in Setia Eco Hill 2, cash purchase and my parents is living inside. Number 5, condo in Kuchai Lama, monthly installment under government housing loan under my mother's name of 1,500. Currently in construction and the progress is slow. With the previous 2 developers were bankrupt and now being handled by another developer, the completion is uncertain. Currently, I am 23 years old and my monthly salary is 3,500. A few months ago, my father gave me an amount of 800,000 in cash, 500,000 in share, 130,000 in Amanah Saham and 2 houses. 1 condo in Taman Naga Emas and 1 double-story house in Setia Eco Hill 2 with a total market value of 1.2 million. Recently, I am planning to invest in property after discussion with my parents in order to preserve the value of money. Because of such amount of money in the bank feared me that the value of money will slowly depreciate. So my motive is to purchase property for investment purposes. My house agent recently found an apartment in Cheras which is suitable for investment. The price is not yet fixed as it is under negotiation. However, I estimate the price to be around 200 to 300,000. I plan to apply loan to fund the purchase. The monthly installment is around 1,300 per month. I am thinking to use the 2 loan slots I have to buy up 2 property without using much of my savings. But my parents insisted to use cash to purchase it to save on interest. Here are my questions. Number 1, please advise me on whether applying loan to purchase the property or cash purchase is better. Number 2, is it possible to apply housing loan to purchase 2 property with my current salary? From M. Thank you very much. Wow. Wow. Just the previous episode we talked about teaching the next generation about property investment, right? It's happening already. So in total, this family has 5 properties, right? Condo in Kuchai Lama, double-story house in Saujana Impian, double-story house in Bangi, double-story house in Setia Eco Hill 2 and Kuchai Lama condo. But this one got stuck because developer kind of ran away. So it's... I'm always very sad when it comes to stories like this, and I'm very helpless. So can we prevent such things? Also don't know how to prevent because this is done with ill intent initially already. So sorry to hear that. But anyway, now the father is giving M 800,000 in cash, 500,000 in share, 130,000 in Amanah Saham and 2 houses. Wow. So now he wants, or she, I assume he lah, okay? He wants to buy a house which is 200,000 to 300,000 and the money installment is around 1,300. So is it okay? But the big question here is whether to apply loan to buy the property or to cash buy is better. Okay, in investment, there's 2 formats of investment. One is when you have money, like your dad. So your dad purchased all of the property using cash. So he is not very comfortable using other people's money, where here we mean bank's money lah. The other format is when we don't have money, then people like me, the only way to build more is to use other people's money and to leverage on how the system calculates DSR so we can qualify for more. In my opinion, you are very, very young and you will be having 2 residential slots of 90% loan. That will determine your entire strategy already. Like now, the only limitation I see will be your income. But it's understandable, you're only 23. You have such a long way to go some more. And with cash reserve, right? What's wrong with just putting them in FD? I think FD is fine. 500,000, right? Just take it like you don't have, because trust me, if you will go this route, right, and I think your parents will love it, there will be a route where you will need cash. So hear me out. So let's say this one, you take 90% loan, okay? You take 90% loan. So just assuming that your money installment is 1,300, you rent out 1,400 for example. So you rent out 1,400 or 1,500, every month extra 200 ringgit. Then suddenly your income, instead of 3,500, suddenly that becomes 3,700 for your second purchase, and you look for something else to buy again. And this one you can kind of just wait it out. You don't have to be so rushed, because the foundation that your father have gave you, right? This is your winning advantage. This is the legacy that your father have built for you, and I'm very envious in such a position. So now, let's say you get one, then at 3,700, I would suggest to spend a little bit more equipping yourself with the relevant knowledge to push up your active income. Ultimately, that's going to be the limiting factor of the entire investment plan. So the 300,000 in share, just leave it. 500,000 in cash, just put it in FD. Every month interest alone, right? You just compound it back. Take it as a blessing and just let it roll while you figure out how to use. Then coming back to the first property you buy already, you gotta just make sure one thing: the installment can be covered by the rent. That's it. Once that's sorted out, you continue to stay in the house that your father gave you, right? And you can repeat this for your second. Then when it comes to your third, now you will need cash. And for example, you want to buy a 500,000 property, but you can only take 70% loan. So you need to cough out around 150,000 in cash. That's when you need to use cash. And there are also other avenues where cash is required, especially when you buy the apartment already, you want to furnish up the unit. How do you do that? You use cash. And this is something that I would suggest you to do, which is to budget, to establish a budget for a particular property. For example, like this house, you are buying around 200,000 to 300,000. So let's say 300,000. Renovation is a sub sale, so let's say it's going to be like 30,000, 40,000. Within 40,000, you put in to ensure that the rent can be covering installment, and that's about it. Property 1, property 2, property 3, then you need a little bit more of cash to put in. My only concern here is I worry that you are too slow. Don't have that thought at all, because you are blessed enough to have a starting line that's way beyond other people's expectation, beyond other people's imagination already. So I think the first answer to your question is the first 2 slots, just use as much bank's money as possible. Yes, you will pay a little bit more interest, right? But now, technically, you are not paying. Your tenants are paying. Then when it comes to the third property already, you need a little bit more cash. And when you have personally learned yourself in buying 1, 2, 3, the fourth one, you can go for commercial. Let's say you see a shop lot that you like, but it's 2.3 million. Upfront, you need a little bit more cash. Then this is where it gets fun. So the 2 properties that your father have left you with, those are also form of capital where you can always refinance them. But the limiting factor here again is your personal income. And that is something that I will encourage you to focus a lot on. But I guess that's also the benefit of investing in property lah. You invest in one, then you let it roll. While it's rolling, then you can figure out what's your career like. Is this what you really like doing? And this is exactly what I would wish my kid will have in the future. When he has like, okay, like let's say we didn't reach 25, we reached like 20 or 18 properties, right? Under his name, he's just collecting rental all under his name. It gives him absolute freedom to pursue exactly what he feels like. If he likes music, if he likes art, if he likes anything, mathematics or whatsoever, he can pursue it and live every day with purpose. That's the best thing. The only thing I worry in your position is when you start investing in businesses. But based on the email that your parents having conversations with you, right? I truly admire that part of teaching from your parents. Besides just passing down properties to y'all, he's even having active discussion with y'all on how to do things. So yes, they came from an era where interest rate is very, very high. I think when they buy back then, it was like 10, 12%. You can go and ask them. Back then, your interest rate, how much? 10, 12%, then it's crazy. That's why they put a lot of upfront capital to resolve all debts. But now when interest rate is very, very cheap, right? Why not just use it to our advantage instead? And that indirectly answered also the second question, is it possible to apply housing loan to purchase 2 property with my current salary? 2 at once? Cannot, right? 2 at once cannot, but I would suggest to buy 1, wait it out for 6 months, 1 year. When you have established a tenant and your tenancy agreement, you have 6-month transaction, then you can apply for the next one, because the banks will only recognize your income after 6 months of transaction. So indirectly, I have already answered your question, but something to just point out, right, will be this generation of youngsters like yourself, some may look at it like a dream come true. You're in a position where people can only imagine having, where my father passes me down like 10, 12 properties. Wow, so nice, right? Indirectly, they are also burdened because it comes with a form of expectation as well. And for a 23-year-old, suddenly you have like 1.2 to 1.5 million under your name, right? It's very, very scary. So what I would suggest to first educate yourself in terms of active skill sets to increase your income, because that will be the limiting factor for your career, also to acquire more portfolio, also to refinance your property later. Your active income will be the limiting factor, but you're 23, so take it easy, you are already winning. The second thing is to always carry this mindset, like when I start from zero, when I start investing with like 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, right? Those are already my lifetime savings back then. But because I have more or less nothing to lose, that's why I'm able to take bigger risks. That does not apply to you. Because the more money you have, the more important it is to run due diligence. The more important it is to really be very careful with how you use money. But how to use money only comes with education. So you can join like property investment clubs to purely learn on how people now build portfolios, where to get the best deals. Then you go into financial personal money space, where you can like how to budget, how to set up businesses, how to set up a special vehicle so that all your income from all your assets right now can be declared, and it can help boost your portfolio further. Because like for the empty houses you can rent out, those are also income. Like for the dividend, those are also income. And from your job, it's also an income. Then you can also go and learn how to maximize tax, because a lot of people figure out tax system after they are rich, but you are already rich. So you need to learn tax system a little bit earlier compared to others. So by looking into the email, I would like to congratulate you, M, for having such an awesome parents, not from a financial legacy point of view, but from a side that parents actually teach you things beyond money. And for the others who are watching this, right, this is exactly what I've envisioned. After visiting UK and speaking to a lot of investors from China, from Thailand, from Japan, right, I've noticed this concept of old money rich. Like when we get into the real estate space, you'll see a lot of people buying things in cash without even flinching, without even thinking, because it's generational wealth. And in Malaysia, I'm considered like, okay, like my grandfather came in from China, so I'm like considered the third generation. And within 3 short generations, I already have friends who are the offspring of a public listed company. They are worth hundreds of millions already. Then I'm fortunate enough where I kind of come from zero, and my parents are going to leave me 1 or 2 properties here and there. So I'm fortunate enough already. But what I'm trying to say is the gap that can be done within 3 generations. So 3 generations, you have families with 100, 200, 300 millions already. And I still also have friends who are starting from zero. They are still figuring out how to make ends meet every month in terms of rent, in terms of living expenses and all. And this is just a phenomenon done in 3 generations. Imagine decades. Imagine the future when our kids take over. It's going to be even worse. And if you look into how the world of capitalism works, right, the rich continue to get richer. Why? Like, besides giving them assets, giving them winning advantages, putting them in the right school, right education, right mindset, from the get-go, learn how to manage money, don't be fearful of money, and they get richer and richer, and the poor will continue to be poor, unfortunately. That's why it's very important. Like now, everyone says that, yeah, buy property for what? Pass down to the kid for what? Yeah, just let them be lah. If there's no choice, if like our generation, like this generation, if you're working, you find it really hard, like you're just clearing off debts from the previous generation, then too bad lah, right? You're doing your best. But if you are fortunate enough where you get to build whatever without restriction, you are the only limitation of yourself. I seriously encourage everybody to start thinking about building wealth across generation. Because whether you like it or not, right, this is going to be the topic. Yes, everybody will have a starting point from zero, technically zero in terms of personal development, but don't you think it's a very exciting thing to do when you can give your next generation a head start in terms of their career, in terms of their development or whatsoever? So back then when our parents came from nothing, so everybody started from nothing, everyone was poor, but there were already some level of tin mining activities, timber activities, right? If you are within that family, then congratulations. In my generation now, some parents already have wealth to be passed down already, and in our generation to our kids, right, like the 4th generation, the 5th generation, is only going to be stacked even more. So I'll encourage for those who are investing a little bit more already, right, we are all doing it for our future generation, and the goal of the channel is to help everybody to at least have 2 to 3 in their lifetime, which is absolutely possible. Like the first you get when you're 20 plus, then by 30 something you get another one, then when business takes off, family all settled already, by 40 plus then you buy another one, but this one requires a little bit more cash or whatsoever. But think about it, one is for own stay, one is for retirement, one is just in case our kids is genius or they want to study dentistry or medicine in UK or whatsoever, just in case lah. If not, we will still have this to rely on at least. But if you totally have capabilities beyond others, you can always build more like M's parents right now. So cash buy 7 properties within their name. For M, thank you very much for sharing this story. It is very inspiring. My entire goal is to be like your father, like your parents. They are doing excellent, and how nice when my kid is 23, he actually knows that, hey, they have spent a lot of time gathering all this asset. It's not easy. I better educate myself, asking the right person so I don't blow everything out. And looking at the way you craft the email, I think it will be fine. So in conclusion, for you, you're gonna equip yourself with knowledge, information, and experience. This is the 3 main things for you to come, and I am so excited for your upcoming journey. Maybe in the future, after you buy 2 already, now you have your 3rd one. Hey Sean, I'm M, if you remember me. How do you ask for refinancing and how do you do refinancing? Then we will continue to build this empire together. You might even educate your other siblings on how to do this together. Woof, it's so exciting. For others who still have any questions regarding what I said, do just email me on taniherng @gmail.com, or you can just DM me on Instagram iherng, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Ciao. When love comes in